The new coalition government has promised to stop councils using anti-terrorism legislation to spy on people for less serious crimes. The pressure group Big Brother Watch has published a report today claiming that local authorities have carried out surveillance in more than 8,500 cases in the past 2 years, monitoring everything from illegal parking to spying on people that they think are breaking the smoking ban. Alex Deane is the director of the pressure group Big Brother Watch and joins us from Westminster. And in Carlisle, we're joined by Councillor David Wilson, who's deputy leader of Allerdale Borough Council. It spied on people to see if they clear up after their dogs. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Alex Deane, the report you're publishing today, which shows some of these relatively minor misdemeanours, does it also show that some of these cases are far more serious?
Not really, no. If the things being investigated by councils, dog fouling, spying on their own employees because they think they're lying about sick pay and so forth, if those things are true, then many of them are wrong. But in my view, none of them justify covert surveillance being carried out by our councils.
But in these 8,500 cases, are some of those covert surveillance for very serious cases of suspected terrorism?
No. Those are, of course, all of those sorts of cases are still conducted by the security services and by the police where they belong. And indeed, my point is that if an offence is serious enough to warrant covert surveillance, then it should never be in the hands of councils. It should always be with police. None of the 8,500 that we're reporting from councils over the last 2 years is anything like that at all. It is, at the most serious end, benefit fraud and fly tipping that falls into councils' remit.
Well, David Wilson, you've used this, the Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act, to check up on people to see if they're allowing their dogs to foul public areas and not clear them up. How do you justify that?
Well, we've never used cameras. Let's put that question right in perspective. We've never used cameras. We've used static observations 4 times in 2007.
You've used what? Sorry.
Static observations.
What is that? What are static observations?
Well, people watching.
So you've sent your staff out to go and see if people are not clearing up after their dogs?
Yes, after numerous complaints from residents. We've got an immense problem in our towns, 4 towns in Allerdale, and they're inundated with dog fouling.
And is that a good use of council money?
Well, it's cost the ratepayers a lot of money to clean it up.
And that's the justification?
Well, it is a justification, really, because dog owners have a responsibility. We've given them free dog bins and scoops to pick them up with.
Alex Deane, there's your justification.
I'm afraid not. I think when you get to this sort of situation, the councils have lost a sense of all proportion in this country. And I think when you're spying on people to see what their dogs are doing, then the cure is worse than the disease.
It's not their dogs, though, is it? It's that they clear up. And as Councillor Wilson says, it costs them money.
Well, it may cost them money, but of course councils have a responsibility to do certain things in our society, and one of them may, in the end, be to clear up after recalcitrant dog owners. And we've got to weigh the benefit of catching that fiend in the act, as his dog does his business, against, on the other hand, giving councils powers of covert surveillance to watch people on days on end, as they're doing up in Allerdale.
Councillor Wilson, what else have you used this Act for?
As I said before, we've never used cameras for minor offences and never prosecuted anyone for a minor offence in Allerdale Borough Council.
But you have used the RIPA, Regulation of Investigative Powers Act, however you're using it, for other things.
It was used by dog wardens keeping observations on complaints from residents.
Have you used it in any other case?
No.
Yes, you have. You used it for the alleged use of an unlicensed vehicle being used as a hackney cab. You used it for taxi touting. Now, you may justify that, but you did do it, so you should probably say you did do it.
Well, I apologise for that. That was not to my knowledge. If we've done that, I'll own up to it, yes.
OK, now, Alex Deane, you've gone through with this report all the councils. Who's the worst?
That's right. Newcastle is the worst council, with 231 uses of surveillance techniques that most people imagine are used for serious crimes and terrorism. 231 times people in Newcastle were spied on in the course of 2 years. And the point I'd also make is most of them will be entirely innocent of anything and don't know that they were ever watched covertly.
But what about those who are doing something? Is it not justified in those cases?
I don't think so. Bradford Council, since 2007, has had a very different policy. Bradford has overt surveillance. They write to people and say, we've had a noise complaint about you. We are going to start monitoring level of noise from your house. And would you, Adam and Eve, it, the level of offending drops right down. That's much better than snooping on people.
David Wilson, do you accept you're going to lose these powers? And what effect is it going to have?
Well, I admit that RIPA was brought out to detect terrorism and detect terrorists and terrorisms, but the ratepayer is entitled to have a good service, and we've got to provide. It's costing ratepayer to clean up the mess by dog fouling and everything. So we've got to do something about it.
David Wilson, Alex Deane, thank you both very much.